Hey guys, Adam Booth with Booth Machine Shop. I want to share with you how I use Evapo-Rust to help me with some of my restoration needs around the shop. So I have a few tools and some things here that I'm planning on cleaning up here, and I wanted to share this with you. We have a 6-inch Athol vise right here. This was built by the Athol Machine and Manufacturing Company. Right here we have a Reusable tap wrench that was made in Greenfield, Massachusetts. We have an LS Starrett spring divider here. This is a steady rest that fits my 16-inch Monarch lathe. This is an item that I received a while back that I have been planning on restoring, and we're going to get started on it now. And we also have a 14-inch cast iron skillet made by Lodge. All of these items we're going to put in my Evapo-Rust tank and get started cleaning these up. I'm going to show you how easy it is. Evapo-Rust comes in various size containers. And the way that I use Evapo-Rust is that I bought a used IBC tote and I converted that to hold a lot of Evapo-Rust. So I could take these larger items like this and easily just set big pieces down in a vat and be able to soak it. I get it in the 5-gallon pail like that, and I have approximately 50 gallons in this tote, but you can buy this in small containers, 1-gallon containers to suit your needs. I have a small plastic container that I fill up with Evapo-Rust when I want to soak small tools like this. I also have the rust block from Evapo-Rust, and this is what we'll use to treat all these parts whenever we get through cleaning them in the Evapo-Rust tank. It works really well to help prevent flash rusting after you clean up a tool. So also keep in mind that Evapo-Rust is safe for all metals, including copper, brass, rubber, plastic, vinyl, and it's non-corrosive and non-flammable. So what do you say we go out to my Evapo-Rust tank and get these guys down in there and get started cleaning them up? This is a small plastic container that I keep in the shop here just for doing small items. We're going to use this for the Starrett spring calipers here. I'm going to go ahead and take the two halves of the steady rust apart just to make it a little bit more efficient while it's doing the treatment. So we're going to take our hardware pieces off the steady rust and just put them in the basket, including the bottom clamp here, and then we can just lower that down in the vat. One thing to keep in mind when you're using Evapo-Rust, it's best if you try to remove as much oil and grease and contaminants off of the pieces before you soak it. So I just took the heavy duty degreaser and was spraying it down to get the oil and the grease off of the screw here for the tap wrench before we soak it. This is going to work so much better with all that rust off of here. So now that we got the bench vise apart, you can see just how rusty it is. It's completely dry too. And we've got our steady rest in 2 halves with all the hardware taken off. We are ready to go to our Evapo-Rust tank. So this is my tank of Evapo-Rust. This is a big IBC tote that I bought used locally here, and I just cut the top off with a Sawzall. And like I said, we got it full with about 50 to 55 gallons worth of Evapo-Rust. So here we go. Let's begin the soak. Keep in mind that you got to put your parts completely submerged in the Evapo-Rust. So our tap wrench, the bottom of our steady rust, top of our steady rust. Here's our basket with the hardware off of the steady rust, including the bottom clamp, and our 14-inch Lodge skillet right here. So we're going to soak these for at least 24 hours, just one solid day. I'm going to come back tomorrow at the same time. I'm going to inspect them, but there's a couple pieces that probably have to soak longer, like our steady rest and the Athol vise. They're probably going to need to go longer than that just because there's so much thick buildup rust on there. And I'm going to make sure that they soak long enough to get all of that off there. Probably take up to 2 days that we'll let this stuff soak. Just going to close the lid up and let it do its thing. I'll bring you guys back and show you how all of our tools came out after soaking in the Evapo-Rust. So we've been in the Evapo-Rust tank for about 36 hours or a day and a half. So let's go ahead and pull all the parts out and see how they did. That looks good. And see the paint that's on there? We can just rub it right on off there. All right, let's see how our big athol vise turned out. Looks good. So once you pull them out of the Evapo-Rust, just take your water hose and simply rinse them off. So some of these parts, they still have that old original paint on them, but you see it softened it up where I'll be able to easily just kind of brush that stuff off there as we clean it up. But the important thing is that we've got all the rust eliminated on it. So here's our spring calipers right here. We've had these guys soaking for 1 day. They look good. Got all the rust off of them. Now they just need cleaning. So once you get everything rinsed off, get all the Evapo-Rust rinsed off with the water, you need to dry them. I like to use compressed air for this, but you can use some towels and just dry them with a towel and leave them out in the sunlight, and that'll help dry them off. So now that we have everything dry, we're gonna go on with the Evapo-Rust Rust Block. This is gonna help prevent any flash rusting from occurring. As you can see, the Evapo-Rust always does a great job. The vise, the steady rest, the cast iron cookware, everything turned out great. There was a lot of heavy, scaly, thick, built up rust on these parts, and the Evapo-Rust does a great job of eliminating that. It really makes your job easier once you want to go in here and complete the restoration of these parts. All we'll have to do now is just use some simple hand wire brushes or Scotch-Brite or hard bristle brushes to scrub these guys down and eliminate the rest of the paint that's still stuck on there, and just making our job that much easier to complete the restorations. On tools like this tap wrench here, anytime you have some good quality old school tools that you want to clean up, drop them in the Evapo-Rust to get rid of that ugly, scaly rust is all you got to do. Put a little lubricant on here on the screw. This guy's ready to put back into service. Same thing with the spring calipers there. This is a very common item to flash rust over the years, and sometimes you just want to clean them up without having to get in there and try to buff them, you know, with anything else. So drop them in a little Evapo-Rust and clean them up. It does such a great job. I did want to point out on the cast iron cookware, all you need to do to finish cleaning this is to wash this really well with some really high quality dish soap, scrub it really well with some dish soap, rinse it off and dry it, and then move on to your normal reseasoning procedures that you would use for cast iron cookware. So get yourself some Evapo-Rust and some of this rust block and make your restorations that much easier.